Hi, I'm Costin Irons, and I'm a physical education teacher here at Durham Academy. My study focuses on the role of physical education for the students struggling with ADD. Specifically, the purpose of this study is to investigate how physical education might benefit upper elementary children, especially those with ADD. The traditional school environment is not a natural environment for children with attention deficit disorder. Too often being good equates with following the rules, sitting still, and simply following direct instruction. What compounds this problem is that students are often just told to try harder or focus better when these students already feel like they're very motivated to succeed. My study specifically focuses on how PE can improve aspects of cognitive function, like focus, and affect, including self-esteem, mood, etc., in children with ADD. One of the most central I can't do it in talk, but I'm going to try to talk anyway. One of the most central findings to my study was that ADD is hard to pin down. Okay, what exactly is ADD is argued amongst psychologists, it's argued amongst people that diagnose it, but there's one thing that remains true throughout all the literature that I read. Executive function is a problem with ADD. And the most significant finding I felt like through my study was that exercise definitely improves executive function. It's the most proven thing throughout my literature review. So, one, ADD people, they struggle with executive function. This means they struggle with working memory, they struggle with starting tasks, completing tasks, they struggle with time management, they'll struggle with where did I put my keys. Executive function is it's the thing that regulates all other cognitive processes. And that's the thing that they struggle with the most. And because exercise helps executive function, it actually increases it. That's a huge finding in my study and my literature review. The rest of my findings in my literature review were basically physical education is good for all students. It's really good for ADD students. An example of that would be physical education is the only part of the program, a school curriculum, that teaches kids how to be healthy or how to live healthy, active lifestyles. This is especially important for ADD children because living a healthy lifestyle helps them cope with ADD. These kids need sleep. These kids need to eat well. These kids need to exercise. They need to get out in nature and they need to get sunlight. Those things are almost how you treat ADD in and of itself. Another example would be exercise releases chemicals in the brain that makes you feel good. This is especially important for ADD kids struggling through the school day that afterwards they feel better. Or physical education is an environment where character education can be easily taught, where social skills can be easily taught. What's important is that ADD kids, this is especially important for ADD kids because when they move, they think clear. When they move, they socialize better. But so much literature, my literature review basically said these kids need to move to feel good and they need to move to think clearly. All right, we're now in the PAB. This is where my study will first start in 2014 on Parents' Night. I'm going to tell them all about my study. I'm going to tell them that I like working with their children. I'm going to tell them that their children are really lucky to have PE 5 days a week, and how my study is exploring how physical education can help the ADD child. After I introduce my study on Parents' Night, consent forms will go home to parents and students Friday folders. Only the parents that return the consent forms are the parents that are not going to participate. So an email will go out after that has a link to the Qualtrics survey, and parents will take the Qualtrics survey with their child and it'll go up. We make it very clear that all the information is anonymous. Similarly, teachers will be recruited in the same time frame. They will all receive an email message with detailed information regarding the study, informed consent procedures, and requests for interview dates and times. The first part of the questionnaire will be adapted from Susan Harder's Student Self-Perception Profile for Children. This profile is a valid and reliable scale for children in 3rd through 8th grade. Specifically, the subscale on global self-worth will be used as a model for asking 3rd through 4th grade physical education students to rate their overall feelings. I'll also be using a Likert scale to rate their attitudes toward PE. I have 4 hypotheses in this study. Most all students will have a positive experience with physical education is my first hypothesis. My second hypothesis is that the majority of students with AED will look forward to and enjoy physical education. My third hypothesis, the majority of ADHD students will feel successful and competent in physical education. My last hypothesis is that students will behave better, focus better after physical education, and I'm going to interview teachers just to see the information about that. For the other 3 hypotheses, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the ADD data, and I'm going to look at students who filled out that they did receive accommodations. I'm going to look at that compared to the regular data, students who do not have received accommodations. And I'm going to look at that compared to the average, and that compared to percentages, and Qualtrics will hopefully figure all that out for me. Any questions you have about my survey, feel free to ask me. I appreciate you all letting me have this time to introduce it to you.